I've been stripping down and degreasing the rear end using this stuff that I mentioned before, Motip Industrial Cleaner, and I managed to, so there's good news and bad news. I managed to get the whole kind of thing a good bit cleaner than it was. Lots of scrubbing and cleaning and stuff underneath and all around the dog bones and under there, which was absolutely filthy, and also scrubbed up this whole kind of area. So that's now a bit cleaner, a bit better than it was. But I've been disassembling stuff, and there's bad news and more bad news. So the bad news is this caliper is seized solid, and it was like basically binding on the brake disc. So I'm probably going to have to rebuild that caliper. I might be able to free it off, but I suspect I'll probably have to rebuild it. There's worse news than that. So the plan for today was to get the bearings out, clean them, have a look at them, possibly replace them. I've got some new bearings that I got off eBay for about 55 quid or something like that, and I was going to take them to like a local shop and get them to press them in with a hydraulic press, because I don't have a hydraulic press. But the problem is I can't support the weight. The weight of the bike is currently supported on the paddock stand, and I don't have any other way to support the bike, because reason being, these Sprints have from the factory, they have a centre stand, but some clever previous owner has removed the centre stand from it. So these are the centre stand, what I think are the centre stand bolts. I'm pretty sure that's it. Well, or rather the holes for the bolts, I should say. This with a bit of liquid wrench. This pin out. That seems to be pretty solid. There we go. That's it. Now we're moving. Right, so the caliper seemed to be seized solid. Okay, I wasn't getting the pistons to move at all by pushing on the brake pads or anything like that. But what I decided to do was, once I'd removed the pads from the caliper, what I've done is I've put the caliper back on the bike just sort of temporarily, and just sort of screwed it together loosely, just enough to put a bit of pressure into the system. And what I did was I pumped the brake pedal a little bit, and I was expecting the pistons probably wouldn't move because they seemed really solid. But this piston here actually moved as soon as I pressed the brake pedal. I got movement from it, so it's not actually as bad as I thought. And then what I've done now is I put the G-clamp on that piston, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the brake pedal again, and we'll see if we can get the other piston to move. And if we can get both pistons to move, then basically the caliper might not actually need a rebuild. So let's give this a try and see what happens. Yeah, it's moving. Right, I'm going to stop there, because if I keep pumping it, there's a risk maybe I'll push the piston right out. That piston has moved several millimetres, which tells me that the caliper's not actually seized after all. It was just maybe a bit stiff with having not been used for a while. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the caliper back off the bike, and I'm going to have a go at cleaning it up, and then I'm going to fit the brake pads. Right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and push the piston back into the caliper, now that I know that both of the pistons will move. So I'm going to use the G-clamp in the vise. So it's a G-clamp in a vise with vice grips to turn the G-clamp. Probably not the proper way to do this, but if it works, it works. Yep, and that's going back in quite easily actually. There we go. So that piston is now flush with the inside sort of face of the caliper, and the other piston still needs to get pushed back in, so I'll do that. Right, that's both pistons pushed back in. That one's not quite flush actually, it's still a little bit proud, but I think it's probably flush enough that I can get the new pads in. But the whole thing is filthy, so it needs a really good clean up. So I'm gonna give it a good clean up, a good degrease and clean. Alright, so I've now given the caliper a clean up and a degrease. It's not a work of art, but it's a lot better than it was. The pistons are retracted, and I'm now ready to put the pads in. Time to put the pads in. So I'm going to put this one in first. Alright, so that fits in quite easily. And I'm going to put this one on the other side, like that. Just put a bit of GT85 on that. So that's on finger tight, so that's kind of holding that brake pad in place. And then what I need to do is I need to get the pins. Got a pin here. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, it's quite dirty. Okay, so that's cleaned up the pin a bit. I think what I'll do is I'll put some copper grease on these pins. I think what I'll do, I'll just dip that in the copper grease, get a bit on the end. Right, wait a sec, let's just push that pad out of the way. I really need to tidy this place up. This place is turning into an absolute bomb site. It is just, I keep saying I'm going to tidy up, and then I sort of don't get round to it because I just want to get on with the next job. And as you can see, it's just got to the point where I've basically got no workbench to work on because it is just an absolute tip. I suppose the rest of it, my shelves and that, are no worse than usual. I managed to keep most of the bits for the bike in a box and stuff like that, so I've kind of stayed semi-organised, but yeah, I really need to tidy this up a bit because I just can't work like this. I'm gonna have to do it now, unfortunately. Bit more under control. It's got things a little bit more organised, straightened out, stacked up, put some of the tools and bits and pieces away. up if I put it the right way up. And then I'm going to put the cam cover onto the engine, assuming it all goes to plan. The new washers are a bit different to the old washers, so I'm just examining the old washers. The old washers had metal on the top and a sort of ridge or two on the bottom, and these ones don't have any metal, it's just rubber with ridges. So I'm going to put the ridges face down and the other bit face up. Right, so I'm now going to tighten these bolts down now that I've got the valve cover sitting in place. So the Haynes manual says tighten in a crisscross pattern, starting from the middle and working out, and it says tighten 10 Newton meters, but unfortunately my torque wrench doesn't go down to 10 Newton meters, it goes down to 28 Newton meters. So I'm just going to have to do these by feel. Tim, hi there. Yeah, that's me. Just that's fine. I'll take it. Thank you. Thanks very much. Have a good one. See you later. Big parcel delivery there. Probably something for the bike. Right, so they're kind of done up finger tight. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go around and I'm going to check that the gasket's seated correctly everywhere. So fine along here, just check around the sides, the semicircles are sitting just fine, front looks fine, just running my fingers along it and just check that it just feels just right. All seems about right. Just check the other side. All looks quite good, so I think what we'll do is we'll just tighten them down a bit more. Okay, so that's everything tightened down. It's sort of done up firm but not really cranked on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a rag and I'm going to go around and I'm going to clean up all the grease, get it all tidied up because it's all covered in grease at the moment. Haynes manual says 20 Newton meters, so set the torque wrench to 20 Newton meters, so here we go, let's see. Okay, there we go, that's number 3 done. Number 2. Number 3. Right, and I'm going to let the socket in that one.